Hey there, folks. We are going to be getting started in just a few minutes. We just want to give a little bit of extra time for any last minute attendees to come in. So please stand by.
Oh, okay.
You can still have the camera part off where it won't show you. But you have to have it up.
Okay.
Hold the camera up. That's what you can do.
Okay. But what they don't, okay. It's up. But I don't know if they can hear me or not.
Try now, Carlos.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
And we've launched the session now, so the other bidders are coming in right now. Can hear
Okay.
us. So you can go ahead and mute yourself until we get to the Q&A. Thank you.
And with that, I think we are good to get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Sean McLaughlin. I am the Bid4Assets Marketing Manager. Thank you, everybody, for attending. In this webinar, we are going to be reviewing how to participate in Lafourche Parish's online sheriff sales here on Bid4Assets. Online auctions are going to begin September 11th. Deposits for the first sale are going to be due September 4th. And during this webinar, we will be taking through the steps on how to submit them, as well as every step that will be part of participating in these sales. If you have questions during the presentation, do feel free to type them out in the question section of GoToWebinar. At the end of the presentation, we'll be going through and doing a Q&A. So with all of that said, let's get started. The first thing that you'll have to do to participate in Lafourche's sheriff sales or any sale on Bid4Assets is register for a Bid4Assets account. Now, fortunately, registration is completely free. There are no monthly fees required to maintain your account, and the process only takes a few minutes. To get started, you will go to Bid4Assets homepage, which we're displaying here, and you will select Sign Up. You'll see here that you are prompted to provide an email address and to create a password. Something to keep in mind is that in addition to using your password to log into your Bid4Assets account, you will also need to use it to confirm your bid. So anytime you place a bid, you'll need to enter your password. So it's very important that you make it something you're sure you'll remember or write it down. After providing your email address and your password, you'll need to provide some basic contact information, confirm your phone number, and finally log in to the email account that you've placed on file. Confirm that email address. Once that's done, your Bid4Assets account will be activated. Once your account is activated, at any time, you can go back here to the Bid4Assets homepage, navigate towards the top, and select My Account login. Once you log in, you see we've got a nifty display here letting you track auctions that you have in your watch list, check your Bid4Assets message center. Basically, this is your main resource hub to interact with auctions that you're participating with on Bid4Assets. So once you've got your account set up, the next thing that you'll need to do is go to the landing page on Bid4Assets for Lafourche Parish's sheriff sales. The way that you'll navigate to that, again, you'll go here to the home page, and if you look to your right, you will see a display, sheriff sales / foreclosures. You want to click that display, and right here you can see you can select Lafourche Parish, and that takes you right to the central landing page for their sheriff sales. The first thing I'll want to note here is the sales date tab. Selecting sales date lets you choose between different sets of auction dates for Lafourche Parish, and it will display only auctions available on that date. So you see I've got September 11th, the first sale displayed now. I can toggle over and switch to auctions that are going to be available on September 25th. For navigating the schedule, you have the choice to have it as a drop down, the way that you see it displayed here right now, or switch over to calendar view. And it will show you auctions set to the schedule of the current calendar month. And you can just toggle back and forth as you like. Let's see. There we go. Now, once you've got your display set up, here, let me just refresh. You're also going to be able to download a property list. You'd want to log into your Bid4Assets account. Once you are logged in, you can download the property list as an Excel file. And this is a really useful tool for doing your due diligence. Let me go ahead and click on a specific sale. And you see right here, it's located next to the sales date tab. Click download property list, log into your Bid4Assets account, and you can have it as an Excel file. And finally, I want to point out the keyword search feature. If you are interested only in properties located in Lafourche, for example, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name, you can just type Lafourche, and the list will filter down to only display properties that contain that word. So if you're especially useful if you've already got a specific property in mind when you come here, or if you're looking for properties only in a specific area. So once you've navigated through the property list, you've picked a few items that you want to bid on. You can just refresh and go back to the generic list. The next thing that you will need to do is submit your bid deposit. For all of Lafourche's sales, a $500 bid deposit will be required to participate. Something important to note for this is you will only need to submit one deposit per auction date. So for example, the September 11th sales, if you submit one $500 bid deposit, that will qualify you to bid on every single auction displayed here. If you wanted to bid in Lafourche's September 25th sale, you would need to submit a new bid deposit in order to qualify. Also worth noting, you are able to transfer deposits from sale to sale if you end up not winning any auctions. So you participated in the September 11th sale, you didn't win any auctions, you will have the option after the sale is over to transfer your deposit to the sale on September 25th. If you do win auctions, that deposit will be applied to your final payment. And so at that point, you would need to submit a new deposit to participate on September 25th. Now, the two methods available for submitting your deposit, and you will want to submit them directly to Bid4Assets, are certified check and wire transfer. The deadlines for deposits will typically be 1 week out, and you want to be mindful of those deposit deadlines and make sure that you're adhering to them to guarantee that you're able to participate, that you qualify in time. Wire transfers typically take up to 2 business days to process. Certified checks typically take up to 3 business days. So wire transfer is a little bit quicker. To get instructions for submitting your deposit to Bid4Assets, you can click on any auction displayed in the list here. It doesn't necessarily have to be the auction that you plan to bid on. And you will see here, once you reach the auction page, over in the top right-hand corner where it says click here for deposit instructions. It's going to prompt you to log into your Bid4Assets account, so you do need to have your account activated before submitting a deposit. And then before you get to the instructions, you'll see here that it's asking you to provide pre-vesting data. This is you providing information on how you'd want any of the properties that you win to be titled. So, I'll just fill in some random information. Save changes. And you'll see here, you will be able to choose between certified check and wire transfer. It will tell you the correct instructions for submitting your deposit, depending on the option that you choose. Again, keep in mind, wire transfer is a little bit faster, takes 2 business days to process. Certified check, 3 business days to process. And once you navigate to the correct screen after this page, you'd be able to see the instructions. One more thing to keep in mind is that if you win an auction and you do not follow through with settlement, you will risk forfeiting your deposit to the sheriff's office. We'll get into this a little bit more later on, but please keep in mind it's important to only submit a bid on a property if you are confident that you will follow through with the payment on it after the auction closes. If you do not win any auctions and you choose not to transfer your deposit over to the next sale, you want to have it refunded. That refund is going to be sent out to you via a principal e-check within 10 business days following the close of the auction. Once you receive it, you can send it to your bank just like a typical check, or scan it via a banking mobile app. Any questions about deposits, we will certainly be able to cover it in the Q&A section. So now that we're here on the auction page itself, one other thing I'm going to note is that once your deposit is processed, you'll get an email notification letting you know that you've been cleared to bid, and you will receive a notification in your Bid4Assets message center. Once you're cleared to bid, when you come in here on auction day, you see auctions are set to open at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. This click here for deposits section is going to go away if you are qualified. It will go away, and instead it will be replaced by your bid box. This will be the section of the page where you enter your bids. Again, you'll only be able to see it if your deposit has been processed and you are logged into your Bid4Assets account. So, with all of that said, I'm going to kick it over to Bid4Assets President Jesse Loomis and do a quick review of how to actually go about placing your bid.
Thanks, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jesse from Bid4Assets. I'll just talk a bit about the process of placing your bids on auctions. So, as Sean said, during the auction, if you're logged in to an account that's funded a deposit, there will be a bid box there from the hours of 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central on auction days. The minimum bids will follow the same rules that you're used to from attending the live auction. So if there's an appraisal, minimum bid would typically be 2/3 of appraisal. If there's no appraisal, from my understanding, minimum bid is sheriff's costs. That minimum bid you can see in this auction, which is still 13 days out. The auction says awaiting minimum bid. Assuming this particular auction is not canceled prior to the day of sale, some point between now and then, that awaiting minimum bid will be replaced with an amount of where the actual floor is going to be for the bidding. Now, the attorneys are going to be participating, the foreclosure attorneys bidding on behalf of the plaintiffs will be participating in the online auctions, much as they did for the live auction. The way that's going to take shape for these online sales is they're going to input the bank's maximum bid prior to the auction start. And so let's say, for example, that the minimum bid was to come in at $5,000 for this auction, and the lender was willing to go up to $50,000. The lender would put in a $50,000 bid prior to the auction start, and as soon as the auction opens, you'll see that minimum bid of $5,000 will be placed. So where you see number of bids 0, you'll see 1 bid, and you'll see the current bid as being $5,000. You won't know, looking at the auction, whether the lender's maximum is $5,000 or whether they have a proxy for some higher amount. You have to think about proxy bids sort of in the same way you would think about going to an auction with a number in your head. Our software knows the number in your head, but someone watching the auction wouldn't necessarily know that. So you choose to go in and bid. The bid increment's $1,000. So let's say you see that there's a bid for $5,000 and you bid $6,000. If the lender's maximum bid was $5,000, you're now going to be the high bidder on this auction. If the lender's bid, as the example I gave a moment ago, is $50,000, it'll open, they bid 5, you bid 6, and immediately upon bidding 6, the system will say, nope, you've been outbid. The bid is now 7. Do you want to bid again? And if you bid 8, nope, you've immediately been outbid by a previously placed higher proxy. The bid is now 8. And you get to, 49, 50. And then once you bid, someone who bids 51,000, now you'll become the high bidder. And if the auction were to close, you would have a successful third-party sale. So again, there's a couple of different ways that we see bidders approach bidding on these auctions. There is one way is just come on at some point in that 4-hour window. The nice thing is, this sort of makes it easier for people who have 9-to-5 jobs, right? You could take a coffee break, jump on your mobile phone at some point in that 4 hours and say, my maximum bid is $55,000, and the system will bid up to that amount on your behalf. Because remember, again, it's not going, if your maximum bid is $55,000, that doesn't mean you're yelling out at like a live auction, jump me to $55,000. you're going to bid $1,000 more than the second highest bid as needed to make you the high bidder. So bidders will routinely win auctions for less than their maximum proxy, because if the bank's best bid was 50, no other third-party bidders bid higher than that, and you bid 55, you're going to buy it for 51,000. One increment, one $1,000 increment higher than the second highest bid. So the two different ways that we see bidders participate in these auctions. One option is you just come on at some point and you set your maximum proxy. You can raise it at the end if you wanted to, or at any point in the 4 hours. But here's my maximum, and I'm just going to let the software bid against the lender and the other bidders for me up to this amount and go about my day. The other way we see bidders do it is people who like the sort of back and forth competitive aspect of bidding. You'll see that the auction has a 5-minute overtime period. What that means is if a bid is placed in the final 5 minutes of the auction, the clock will reset to 5 minutes left. And so if, let's say, you're the high bidder at 51,000 with 3 minutes left of the auction, and someone comes in and bids 52,000, you'll see a flashing icon pop up that says we're in overtime. And if that bid was placed at, say, 1:57 Eastern time, the new close time is going to be 2:02. And then you go ahead and counterbid that at 2 o'clock Eastern time. The new close time is 2:05. And so, in other words, a 5-minute period must pass without any bids being placed, or the auction will not close. So it'll keep going. And so this is how we recreate electronically the sort of going once, going twice sold that you would see in a live auction. And it will prevent other bidders from coming in and what you would call sniping, like you might see on a site on, say, eBay, where someone bids against you with 3 seconds left. And by the time you know you've been outbid, the auction's already over. This is a public auction, and we're going to make sure that the auction continues until just one bidder remains by way of this 5-minute period. Sean, if you want to scroll down a little, you'll see we have the basics of the property information and the information on the foreclosure case in the auction description, types of information you would also find on the sheriff's website. Let me see, do we have any other links in here? Scroll down a little bit more. You'll see there's a due diligence file. There's a writ of execution in there. There's images. Could you scroll down a little more, please? Okay, and then there's links to other resources such as FAQs, the assessor's website, which also has GIS imagery of every property. If you lack access to the internet via a home computer or work computer, we work on smartphones and mobile devices. The parish has provided a list of library locations where you can go and have access to free internet. I would stress the importance of, much like with the live sales, do your due diligence. Carefully read the conditions of sale that is in the landing page, as well as every auction page. There is not a guarantee of clear title. Properties can be occupied. Properties can have, significant damage. Please don't rely on the photographs in the auction as sort of your end-all be-all of the condition of the property. Carla from the civil team does a great job of actually going out and getting recent photos and adding those as a sort of a guide and a tool to assist you in your due diligence to the auction. But, these are foreclosed properties that people are about to lose. There's nothing to say that, damage has not been done to the property since the photographs have been taken. You are ultimately responsible for the due diligence and for ensuring that you have as good a sense of the condition of the property as you can get from sort of street level without trespassing on the property as is possible. If we scroll back up, one other thing I'll mention is the watch list. if you start to see there's a lot of properties and you want an easier way to track the, let's say there were just 2 properties on a particular auction date that you were interested in, you can log on and hit the add to watch list button and then log into, click on, my account and go to the watch list. And that can be a very manageable way to just view a few properties that you're interested in. Once the auction's over, you can remove them from your watch list. So, if there's 2 that are in overtime and you're jumping back and forth and you want to just sort of watch them, you could open a few tabs on your browser, or you can add them to your watch list and use this as a helpful tool. Happy to take questions at the end if there are any further questions on this. For now, I'll turn it back to Sean to cover a couple more subjects before we open it up for Q&A.
Thanks, Jesse. So let's move on to talking about settlement procedures. You will be able to find a description of settlement procedures at the bottom of every auction page. You see it notated here, settlement requirements. You will also be able to find them on the county's main page. Let's go all the way back to the central landing page. If you go beneath the property list and you check out this section, the settlement instructions are available there. When an auction ends, when all of the auctions available in a sale have closed, you will receive an email alert letting you know if you've won any of the auctions that you bid on. You'll also receive a notification in your Bid4Assets message center. You'll receive a notification if you haven't won auctions as well, but for the emails going out for people who've won, you will also be provided with settlement instructions in that post-auction email. Typically, settlement will be available through wire transfer or certified check, just like with your deposit. And just like with your deposit, you're going to want to submit your settlement payment directly to Bid4Assets. I'll stress one more time, like Jesse mentioned, do your due diligence ahead of the sale. I know we have a lot of live bidders from Lafourche Parish in this webinar, so I think I'm preaching to the choir, but do not place a bid on an auction unless you feel certain that you will follow through with the payment. If you miss the settlement deadline, there is a strong likelihood you will forfeit your deposit and a strong likelihood that you will be banned from future sales. So just be mindful, perform your due diligence ahead of the auction. So just to recap before we go into Q&A, the things you want to do to participate in Lafourche Parish's share of sales on Bid4Assets are: 1, register for a free Bid4Assets account. 2, visit the landing page on Bid4Assets for the share of sales and find the property or properties that you want to bid on. 3, submit a $500 deposit directly to Bid4Assets. And remember, you only need to submit one deposit for one auction date. It'll qualify you to bid on everything that's available. 4, research the properties that you're interested in bidding on ahead of the auction and familiarize yourself with the settlement terms, making sure that you've got the funds on hand to pay for any of the properties that you win. And then finally, 5, if you win an auction, follow the instructions in your post-auction email to submit your settlement directly to Bid4Assets. Bid4Assets has a live customer service line available Monday through Friday. So you are always welcome to reach out to us, either giving us a call or contacting us through email for additional assistance. You can find our contact information up here towards the top of the website, go over to Contact Us, and you will see the email address here, customer service at bid4assets.com, and our call center line, 301-650-9193. Again, you can reach out to us at any time. One more thing I'll mention is that if for whatever reason you are looking to participate in these sales and you do not have access to the internet, there's no feasible way for you to get to a library, your home does not have internet set up, the sale is on a date where it's going to be down, you can obtain an offline bid packet from Bid4Assets, a packet that will let you just go through and enter your proxy bid. You will have to do proxy bid for any of the auctions that you want to bid on, and that form will be used up against people submitting bids virtually. If you want to request an offline bid packet, the way to do that is to get in contact with our customer service team. Again, either by calling this number or reaching out to us via email. And that is everything. I think next we're going to want to open this up for Q&A. At this point, if you haven't done so already, if you have questions, feel free to enter them into the question section on GoToWebinar, and we will answer them as they come. You can ask questions that pertain to us at Bid4Assets or to the sheriff's office. And Carla will try to field the ones that she can. I see a raised hand. I'm going to guess that means somebody has a question. Just go ahead and enter it into the question section in GoToWebinar. Okay. Somebody's asking us if they make a deposit and they win multiple properties that week, how does settlement work? Jesse, do you want to take that one?
Certainly. And so basically think of the deposit as a $500 credit towards the balance. So if you win, let's say a real estate property for $20,000 and a movable for $5,000, and so your total balance due is $25,000, you have a $500 deposit on hand, your balance due will be $24,500. So just think of it as sort of a $500 that you've put down on the total amount due.
Okay, we are going to hold and just see if we have any more questions coming in.
There's another question, Sean.
Okay, yeah, following up, and I'll answer this. So yes, somebody's asking if their deposit would need to be replaced for the next sale, in the case where they win multiple properties. Yes. So if you don't win auctions, you're able to transfer your deposit to the next sale, and you can do that from your Bid4Assets account. I'll display it really quickly. You would log into your account, and you would go to the My Bid Deposit section. And you'll see here, you're able to transfer your deposit from inside of this section as long as it's still open and available. If you win auctions, then you're going to have your deposit applied to that final payment. And so in that case, to participate in the next sale, you would need to submit a new deposit. Somebody is asking how quickly they would need to submit settlement funds once an auction is won.
I can answer that. And so you'll see their settlement terms on the auction page in each individual auction, which reads settlement payments are due 10 business days after the auction ends. So, factoring for federal holidays, weekends, you're looking at 10 business days from auction date, which in most cases is going to be, 2 straight weeks after the auction closes.
I'm seeing another question, which is, are you able to see if the bank or another attendee is bidding, and are identities of other bidders being revealed during the sale?
So the answer is no. While you're bidding, you don't know if you're bidding against a third party bidder or the lender, and you never know the identity of the bidders. Once all the bidding is over, the status of the auction will either change to sold or sold to plaintiff. So once the auction is over, if you're not the winning bidder, you will know if this is going to become an REO and the lender is purchasing it, or if it just says sold, that means a third party bidder. But other than that, no, we don't disclose who is bidding, their information, or whether you're currently bidding against a third party or the lender.
And I see another question coming in. Someone's asking, when should they expect to receive their deed once they've sent settlement in?
Sounds like a good Carla question. Carla, are you able to unmute and address how long after funds are received at the parish they can expect to have their deed recorded?
Yes, Jeff, it's gonna follow the same way with me. Once I get it recorded, I'm either gonna mail it out or I can have you pick it up at the office.
Awesome. Let me see. I think there's somebody asking when they can submit a deposit via wire transfer. It's used to pay for a property that you win. I will say you can submit your deposit at any time. Once the sale page is up, and you can view a list of available properties, you can submit a deposit.
I think you meant to say if I win. So I think what he was asking is if I owe a balance of $10,000, can I send a single payment for the 10,000, and like can I send 10,500 so the new deposit lumped together with the settlement proceeds for what I just won? I've never actually heard that question before. It's an interesting question. Perhaps we can reach out to the finance team and get back to this particular bidder on that.
Okay. And then I see another question asking about whether we can keep a standing deposit or will we need to transfer the deposit week to week.
Yes, there'll be a process where you can just keep rolling it week after week. But if you just keep your setting on rolling over, it's sort of different terms for the same thing. You're just sort of rolling your deposit along each week until you find a property that you want and you win something, or you request your funds returned.
Okay. I think we're running up close to time. So if
Why
people
don't you
have,
go ahead and do one more? There's one more question.
somebody's asking if they can bring payment into the sheriff's office if they win an auction.
Yeah, the answer is no. This is all the funds are going to come through Bid4Assets escrow going forward and go to the sheriff's office in one lump payment.
We are running up close to the time that we have available. So if you've got any last minute questions, I'd say now is definitely the time to fire them off into the chat. And again, if you still have questions following this presentation, always feel free to reach out to our customer service team. Okay, I don't see any new questions coming in. I think we're good to go. Again, I want to say thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar. We are very excited to be bringing these sales online. Excited for you to experience the convenience of being able to bid in a few minutes from your phone or laptop and have an easier way to participate in these sales. I'll say one more time, if you still have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to our customer service team for additional assistance. And with that, say thank you one more time. Everybody, have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you all.
So long.